Among the moves that the Toronto Raptors made at their busy trade deadline, they sent point guard Davion Mitchell to the Miami Heat for PJ Tucker. And after Mitchell's big performance in the play-in tournament, Raptors fans are looking back thinking that maybe that trade was a mistake. Well, in today's video, I'm going to give you all of the reasons why it absolutely was not a mistake. Let's get into it. Welcome back, everybody. This is Amateur Sports, the YouTube channel dedicated to Toronto Raptors content. Support the channel by grabbing yourself some merch, drop a like if you enjoy, subscribe for more content just like it. But Davion Mitchell for PJ Tucker, looking back, what were the Raptors thinking? I mean, Davion Mitchell, look how well he's playing for the Miami Heat. And granted, he has played very, very well since arriving with the Heat. He's been doing a great job in the second half of the season. Yes, he did play very well in the play-in tournament game against the Chicago Bulls, but the Raptors were in the right when they made the decision to trade him to the Heat, and I'll explain it over the course of the video. But Davion Mitchell, there's a lot to like about him as a Raptor. I think he kind of underwhelmed a little bit when he played for the Raptors. He's played a lot better for the Heat, but I think he's slightly underwhelmed a little bit playing for the Raptors. But the reason there's a lot to like about Davion Mitchell with the Raptors because he was involved in one of like the highest value trades you've maybe ever seen. Like, I won't call this like one of the greatest trades of all time or anything like that, but like in terms of the value we gave away to the value we added, this is one of the greatest trades of all time. The Raptors, when they got Davion Mitchell, they acquired Davion Mitchell, Sasha Vezenkov, who they waived for $0, so just waived him for nothing. Just imagine Sasha Vezenkov wasn't even in the trade. 45th overall pick, which, I don't usually like to look at trades and think of who they selected with the player because, it can drastically change the trade and, different teams draft different players in different spots. But hey, doesn't hurt that the 45th overall pick became Jamal Shead, the player who basically replaced Davion Mitchell on the team. And also the Raptors in this trade got a 2025 second-round pick via the Portland Trail Blazers. All of that for Jalen McDaniels. Jalen McDaniels, who spent most of the year not in the NBA, who was a negative asset for the Raptors, who the Kings went on to waive. Like, Jalen McDaniels was a negative asset, a horrible asset for the Raptors to have. And then got Davion Mitchell, Jamal Shead, a second-round pick out of it. That is pretty tremendous business overall by Masai Ujiri and the Raptors front office. And every time I get a chance to talk about this trade, it's just so funny how good it is. I will use that opportunity to talk about it. But that's not what we're focused on in today's video. That's the trade that brought Davion Mitchell to the Raptors. And the idea behind getting Davion Mitchell, he was an RFA at the end of the season. So he's an RFA at the end of the season. He had 1 year left on his rookie contract when the Raptors acquired him. He was in the same draft as Scottie Barnes, selected in the lottery by the Sacramento Kings. It didn't really quite work out for Mitchell. Was kind of a late-age draft player because he played so well for Baylor and winning the national championship, where he was known for his amazing defensive qualities, which he has displayed in the NBA, just hasn't quite displayed the shooting he did in college to bring enough offense to the table. And that's kind of the Davion Mitchell that we did get here in Toronto. But the idea was the Raptors needed a backup point guard. This is the guy that was going to bridge the gap for a year to be the backup point guard. Now, maybe what the Raptors weren't quite counting on, but hey, a welcome surprise is that their 45th overall pick, Jamal Shead, was playing so well and developed so much over the course of the season that he was really knocking on the door of taking that backup point guard spot for himself. And the Raptors decided near the middle of the season, let's prioritize playing the younger player who we see as more of a long-term fit, and let's cash in on Davion Mitchell before he becomes a restricted free agent at the end of the season, because I've seen this trade labeled so many times, and I've seen it today. I saw it yesterday during the Heat game. I saw it when the trade happened. Like, the amount of questions I got in my comments, in my live streams, why would the Raptors trade Davion Mitchell for PJ Tucker? PJ Tucker hasn't played all season. The Raptors didn't trade Davion Mitchell for PJ Tucker. They traded Davion Mitchell for PJ Tucker and a second-round pick. The second-round pick is key here because PJ Tucker, the Raptors did not care about. I assure you, when the Raptors were making this trade, Masai Ujiri wasn't thinking, PJ Tucker, if we can get him to come back on the court and play, he is going to be a big play for us. No! PJ Tucker was just the player and salary that had to be included to make the trade happen. The Raptors knew Davion Mitchell was restricted free agent. They did not want to pay me in the season. They were worried about keeping him in the season, so why not get something out of him instead of having him leave for free at the end of the year and do right by the player that you want to prioritize? Jamal Shead being the backup point guard. Davion Mitchell was starting to get some DNPs for the Raptors. Like, literally sat on the bench the entire game. Coach's decision, did not play for the Raptors. So Raptors cashed in and got the second-round pick. If you thought Davion Mitchell was good enough to keep, well, it's kind of impossible for the Raptors to have done that too. Like, the Raptors are kind of working with roughly $10 million in cap space before they hit the luxury tax next season. $10 million. And they have to pay whoever they draft first, second, third, fourth, seventh, eighth, ninth, whatever. They have to pay their very high draft pick and use part of that salary that's going to go towards potentially the luxury tax. And before anybody asks, if you're not a contender, you're not paying the luxury tax. Period. End of. The Raptors not paying luxury tax. Like, the Raptors are just absolutely positively not going to be a tax team. So forget about that. Don't even ask. Definitely not going into the tax to keep Davion Mitchell. So the Raptors thought, okay, we've got a point guard that we would rather play because Jamal Shead was playing over Davion Mitchell at the time. We've got the point guard we'd rather play who's here for a longer period of time, who is younger. We can get something out of him now instead of losing him for nothing in the season when we would have to pay him and really, really stretch ourselves going towards that luxury tax. So in the end, the decision made a lot of sense for the Raptors to make. And, you know, on top of, like, I get he's playing well right now, but like, let's look at how he's playing with that. Like, this wasn't a guy that was clamoring, that was knocking on that front office door to get a new contract with this team. Like, Davion Mitchell averaged 6.3 points on 43.4% shooting from the field and 36% shooting from three for the Raptors. That was 4.6 assists. Like, Davion Mitchell's been playing really well for it's completely different. He's averaging 10 points per game, 50% shooting, 55% shooting from three in that play-in tournament game against the Chicago Bulls. He came off the bench at 33 minutes, 5 of 5 from the field, 2 of 2 from three, 15 points, 9 assists. Fantastic game for Davion Mitchell. He's had a lot of fantastic games overall for the Miami Heat. I'm not disputing that. But from our perspective, for the Raptors' perspective, this decision made every bit of sense in the world. Prioritize Jamal Shead. Can't afford Davion Mitchell. Davion Mitchell wasn't even playing that well for the Raptors. So, you know, it's easy in hindsight to look at this, but look, I'm happy for Davion Mitchell. I think Miami is the perfect destination for a player like him. He's showing it. He's playing very well. He's done a great job near the end of the season to earn himself a bigger contract at the end of the season when he does hit restricted free agency. But I think both sides were better off parting ways here. Davion Mitchell gets the role that maybe suits him a little bit better in Miami. The Raptors prioritize Jamal Shead, who's been playing great basketball. And I promise you, like, Raptors fans will always look for something to complain about, maybe myself included. But, like, I assure you, the Raptors kept Davion Mitchell, it would have been, number one, why is Davion Mitchell getting minutes over Jamal Shead when Jamal Shead should be the priority for development? And if we had kept Davion Mitchell, the other thing would have been, well, why are we letting Davion Mitchell walk for free at the end of the season? Why didn't we trade him at the trade deadline to get something out of him? So whatever would have happened, somebody would have complained. But for the people complaining about Davion Mitchell getting traded for PJ Tucker, you're wrong about that one. Yeah.